I was so hopeful that a mixed race woman married to a Jewish guy could be elected president of this country. And I think that it had nothing to do with policy. I think this was a referendum of cultural resentment in this country.
Was it though? All right. Well, as you just watched, Bakari Sellers, David Axelrod, who had clarity before the election but seems to have lost that clarity after the election, Joy Reid, Sunny Hostin, they're all blaming Kamala Harris's loss on the character of the American electorate. And I think that's a big mistake.
In this video, Ana Kasparian challenges the notions of a possible Trump resurgence. She doesn't hold anything back either. She analyzes the host's emotional reactions and exposes the unfair way the media typically portrays Trump. Kasparian provides viewers with a much-needed reality check by highlighting the bias and hyperbole in their statements, which is backed by perceptive analysis and trustworthy statistics. She also attacks the hypocrisy of their political narratives. If you want a more factual perspective and are tired of media spin, this is the video to watch. Ana Kasparian brings the heat. Take a look at it yourself.
The second time that Democrats bet the House on white women. And
there were appeals to racism in this campaign, and there is racial bias in this country, and there is sexism. And anybody who thinks that that did not in any way impact on the...
I was so hopeful that a mixed race woman married to a Jewish guy could be elected president of this country. And I think that it had nothing to do with policy. I think this was a referendum of cultural resentment in this country.
Was it though? All right. Well, as you just watched, Bakari Sellers, David Axelrod, who had clarity before the election but seems to have lost that clarity after the election, Joy Reid, Sunny Hostin, they're all blaming Kamala Harris's loss on the character of the American electorate. And I think that's a big mistake. Because when you do that, number one, it's bad analysis and it's incredibly lazy. But number two, it only works to shield or provide cover for the mistakes that the Democratic Party has been making.
Kasparian also questions the media's tendency to blame white women for KLA Harris's political shortcomings. She argues that such finger-pointing ignores the real issues. Instead of focusing on important obstacles, like a Republican-led Congress that would limit Harris's program, the media selects simple headlines that avoid in-depth examination. Kasparian claims that this narrow focus reveals the Democratic Party's failure to present voters with ideas that are compelling and focused on people. She claims that in addition to alienating Americans, this tactic prevents the party from accepting real responsibility for its failure to win over many voters.
Health freedoms, and why do you think Latino men voted in favor of someone that's going to says he's going to deport the majority of his community?
White women like being called uneducated white women. I think the economy matters, national security matters. But when you put people in these boxes, I think that's a takeaway from this race.
We have to look at the demographics.
Also, I think it's worth noting that, there are some red states that attempted to ban abortion or severely restrict abortion, but the people in those states voted in favor of ballot initiative to legalize abortion, to reverse the negative impact of the reversal of Roe v. Wade. So saying that people are voting against their best interests kind of doesn't make sense when it comes to the reproductive rights issue, because what was Kamala Harris supposed to do? She was going, let's say she got elected. She would have come into office with a Senate controlled by Republicans. And I don't know, has it already been determined? Have Democrats lost the House?
Yeah, almost certainly.
Okay, so basically a Republican-controlled Congress. How the hell was she supposed to pass or codify reproductive rights on a national level? It wasn't going to happen. And it wouldn't have happened if Democrats had control of the House or even a slim majority in the Senate. It just wasn't going to happen. She's not going to steamroll the Senate filibuster, which requires 60 votes in order to pass legislation. It wasn't going to happen. So, I think what Alyssa Farah Griffin said there, and I never thought I would say this, but she's right. She's right. And I also think there's an issue with the way, liberals feel free to just demonize white people in general, right? Like, it turns people off. And if they're constantly told over and over again that they're the enemy, they're everything that's wrong with this country, every bad thing that's happened here is because of, the white European settlers and the white people who were here. Like, if one party is telling them they're the bad guys and they're not wanted and they're the root of every problem in the country, do you think that part of the electorate's going to vote?
Ana Kasparian directly criticizes the views hosts for placing too much emphasis on identity politics. She argues that this type of thinking oversimplifies complex topics and misses significant policy issues that genuinely impact voters. When the media unduly picks out and blames specific demographic groups, it fails to consider the bigger picture. According to Kasparian, this strategy overlooks the basic cause of the widespread rejection of mainstream politicians.
That's the main reason that she lost. You misdiagnosed the problem. The main reason she lost is because Democrats don't deliver and they run establishment campaigns and not populist campaigns. And this is so stark because there's only two people in the country among the politicians that have run as populists. One is a fake populist, Donald Trump. One's a real populist, that's Bernie Sanders, right? And both of them had miraculous runs. And the media acknowledges, oh my God, but we thought Bernie was a joke. We thought he was going to get 1% against Hillary Clinton. He got 48%, nearly won the whole damn thing. And in 2020, he won the first three primary states. Oh my God, that's amazing, right? Donald Trump in this miraculous political comeback wins the second time. Those are the only two people that have ever run as populists in my lifetime for president. And they both did spectacularly well. Every establishment, Republican and Democrat that runs gets clowned, right? But they can't figure, they're like, oh, no, that's not it. And remember, Bernie's on the left, Trump's on the right. So it's not even a left-right thing. It's definitely not a racial thing. Bernie's terrific on race. Trump's terrible on race. But they both won. Oh, I'm sorry, Bernie didn't win ultimately, but he had a miraculous rise up in the polls. And so if you're looking at it in an unbiased way, clearly the American people are saying we don't like the elitism. Mm-hmm. And then here's a bunch of elites on television who are almost all millionaires telling you it's your fault and it's uneducated white women's fault. Okay, that leads to problem number two, which is what Anna was talking about. If you keep insulting, by the way, not only some people, which they won't go free, but also the majority of people in this country. Do you think that's a good political strategy to say to 3/4 of the country that's white, you guys are the problem. It's your fault we lost. And it's your fault for being so uneducated and so...
It would be a serious mistake, say Kasparian and Sank Ugger, to blame voter prejudice alone for Kamala Harris's problems. Instead, they draw attention to deeper issues like political elitism and the widening gap between Democratic leadership and working-class Americans. According to Kasparian, the media's overemphasis on gender and ethnicity ignores the root causes of voter discontent, such as the belief that politicians are merely interested in gaining attention and are not interested in addressing common problems. Traditional media ignores the public's general dissatisfaction with the existing leaders' lack of meaningful reform. Ana Kasparian also criticizes the awakened wing of the media for disseminating stories that separate rather than unite people. She says that blaming entire societies for preventing progress on their own start to move farther away. Instead of promoting togetherness, these tales increase hostility and alienate individuals from conventional politics. Kasparian says this type of messaging is counterproductive. It isn't beneficial. In actuality, it produces populist leaders that claim to be standing up for the average citizen, and the opportunity to take on media elites is even more alluring. They hope that their quality of life will improve. That hasn't been the case for a lot of Americans. They're angry, too. Okay, that's what they want. There is, in fact, a certain amount of desire to get even with those in positions of authority, and Donald Trump is the perfect candidate to do it. I think this is occurring frequently. Yes, without a doubt. Dan Holloway, who is conservative, was with us from Drinking Brothers. But he's not your average conservative, is he? He is a right-wing populist, and his analogy was superb. We hate the China shop, but we know he's a bull in a China shop, he said. That's why we sent him the bull, isn't it? They are referring to the China store, which is the corruption of the establishment, etc. Trump goes too far and tries to subvert the Constitution while he was working in that Chinese store, and he now participates in his own corruption. We know that. That, however, also played a role in his triumph. You have to understand that. However, The Cheneys are a perfect example of the Matrix glitch, as we were just telling you how awful, and nasty Dick and Liz Cheney were. They are now telling you about the same group, but by the time we get to Act 3 of the play, they have entirely changed their methods. The opinion holds that Liz Cheney possesses exceptional moral courage. Her moral character is superb. The phrase was specifically used by Whoopi Goldberg. She was also saying that she wanted Liz Cheney to be the Attorney General for KLA Harris. After all, KLA Harris might have lost the election because of Whoopi Goldberg. Let's be truthful. Okay, no, just that. But that piece is too small. But, guys, torture was a terrible thing back then. It seems inconceivable that the CIA is torturing individuals. Dick Cheney started that initiative at the IA today. Liz Cheney may make an excellent CIA chief, according to Whoopi Goldberg's suggestion on that same episode. So which one? This episode reflects Anaka's growing discontent with what she sees as the obsession with woke symbols by the left-wing media. She argues that this fixation on identities and labels has led to a disengagement from the issues that most Americans care about, like healthcare, the economy, and national security. Kasparian believes that the Democratic Party should turn its attention from petty politics to significant measures that affect people's day-to-day lives. Her message is really clear. It's time for the party to stop making symbolic gestures and start addressing the concerns of actual people. So what do you think? Kindly leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Additionally, if you want to keep up with the most recent celebrity news, make sure you subscribe to Daily Finder.